welcome you to the third day of workshop entitled Paradigms of Research from Synopsis to Thesis. Dear friends, today's topic is analysis of data. And today we have Dr. Rahul Mohore, sir, as a resource person. From last 2 days, we are having very fruitful and informative sessions. That's why I know very well all of us are very much eager and excited to have the session of Dr. Rahul Mohre. So without wasting time, I would like to request Dr. Narendra Nagpuri sir to introduce today's resource person, Dr. Rahul Mohre. Sir, please.
So good morning. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Rahul Mohre sir. He is MSc, MPhil, MBA, PhD Computer Science, and he has done another PhD in Business Management. Sir has 19 years of teaching experience along with industry experience. 7 books have been published till date. Sir has presented and published 32 papers so far. He is also corporate trainer for DHFL, NADP, OFIL, Manas Agro, and so many such industries. He is also a trainer for Advanced Excel, Orange, MCDM. Presently, he is an assistant professor at Sri Ramdev Baba College of Engineering and Management, Nagpur. I welcome you, sir, on this occasion for third days of workshop. And now, I would like to add something into this. We have worked together for 2 years in Datta Mege Institute of Management Studies. I have seen sir has such an interest in studies and research, and he has a special capability to deliver the topic. That's a special attribute of sir I would like to mention here. So without wasting time, request Dr. Rahul Mohre sir to proceed with this session. So thank you. Mohre sir, over to you.
Right, sir. Thank you. Thank you means a lot of people, means dear friend Narendra, the faculty members of Adarsh College. And since the session have been already started and the FDP is already started, and you have two very renowned faculty member who have conducted the previous 2 days session. Asmita madam was there and Gajanan sir was there. They have already conducted a very good session, and the today's session goes with the data analysis. Means I'll be sharing my screen. Just a second. Means with the permission of host, I'm going to share the screen. Can you see the screen now? Is the screen visible? Please let me know if the screen is visible.
Yes, sir. Screen is visible.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Okay. The only 2 words probably which have been used throughout the world currently in the largest number is whether I'm audible. This is first thing that many people are asking to each other, and second thing, whether my screen is visible. At least in our fraternity, in teaching fraternity, people are saying like this only, that these are the only 2 buzzwords now which are playing around the world. So same here, before starting the session, everyone will definitely ask you the same thing, that whether I'm audible and my screen is visible or not. So this is the data analysis. Means we'll be starting up with the data analysis. So screen is not visible. Perhaps I have shared the screen. It will take some time to become visible at your end. But probably the screen is visible, I guess. Means Narendra sir, can you confirm screen is visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, clearly visible.
Okay.
Very yes, sir, visible.
Thank you. Now, data analysis. Asmita ma'am might have discussed the research topic, how to final the research topic. Gajanan sir might have discussed about how the complete flow of research design could be. Means this thing have already been discussed. Now the third session goes with the data analysis. Now what exactly the data analysis is, since I have seen many people are already doctored means they are already having their PhD degree. So this is nothing new for them that what exactly the data analysis is. But there are some quite a few people who are not a doctor, so will consider that all those peoples are there who want to know that what exactly the data analysis is, and the presentation is quite a basic one, or it is being designed in a way that it starts with the scratch. So the first slide is like data analysis. So now what is that outline? That's what we are going to discuss in the presentation. So what exactly the data analysis is, what are the different types of variable that we are having, then what is the qualitative analysis and what is the quantitative analysis, and finally the difference between these two, qualitative analysis as well as quantitative analysis, along with a short example. And we'll be covering the examples as well for the qualitative analysis as well as for the quantitative analysis. Means uh, now, just consider an example that 6 blind men are there and they have happen to visit a elephant's sculpture. Now, everyone is touching that sculpture and they want to notice that what they have exactly seen or what they have exactly feel. So, one have touched the side of the elephant and he inferred that he felt like there is a wall, there is a kind of wall, something. Next, have touched the tusk of the elephant, and then he feel that it's like spear, भाले जैसा कुछ है, means like एक औजार है भाला, उसके जैसा उसका tusk लगा उसको. Then one person hold the trunk of the elephant, and he felt like it's like snake. Then another fourth person was there. He touched the knees or legs of the sculpture and he felt like it is a tree. मतलब ये ट्री जैसा लग रहा है यार कुछ, ये मतलब हाथी का पैर है ऐसा उसको तो फील ही नहीं हुआ, उसको ट्री जैसे लगा. One has touched the ear and he felt like it is like a big fan. पुराने जमाने का जैसे पंखा होता था वैसा उसको लगना लगा. And one have touched the tail of the elephant and he find that it is like rope. Okay, so 6 different people have touched the sculpture. They have felt something and they mentioned it, but all put together means if we put the conclusion and if you want to draw a conclusion from all the 6 people, then it doesn't constitute the sculpture of elephant. मतलब ये सब 6 के 6 लोगों का अगर हम लोग कंक्लूजन भी ड्रॉ कर लेते हैं या इन्फ्रेंस ड्रॉ करना चाहते हैं तो यार वो हाथी नहीं बनाता, वो कुछ अलग अलग चीजें बना रहा है. कोई बोलता है कि दीवार है, कोई बोलता है पंखा है, कोई बोलता है एक शायद रस्सी हो सकती है, कोई बोल रहा है स्नेक है, कोई बोलता है पेड़ हो सकता है, कोई बोलता है भाला है. लेकिन ये सारी की सारी चीजें शायद हम लोगों के एलिफेंट को नहीं बनाती है. मींस दिस डजंट कंस्टिट्यूट द एलिफेंट येट. So what is happening is that means why we are discussing this is the way that how we are going to look the data. Means we are having the data, we want to generate a useful information, we want to draw some useful inferences, we want to draw some conclusion from the given data. Means in a very simple sense, if somebody came to you and asked you that what exactly you mean by data, means if he is coming to you and he is asking you that if you want to define the data, how you are going to define the data in a very simple way. मतलब बहुत सिंपल तरीके से अगर हम लोगों को उसको डिस्टिंग्विश करना है या डिफर करना है या डिफर करना है तो हम लोग उसको कैसे डिफर कर सकते हैं. तो मीन्स फर्स्ट इज दैट accumulated but unorganized fact, this becomes the data. And means चलो let us consider a very simple example. हम लोग इसको भी और सिंपल कर लेते हैं. If I ask you a question, how many students are wearing wrist watches? कितने लोगों ने घड़ी पहनी हुई है? अगर इसका आंसर देना चाहते हैं तो definitely it will become the data. Means in a class, we are standing in a class of 60 and we are asking a question like this, that how many students are wearing the wrist watches? Then definitely an answer may come like this: 58 are wearing wrist watches, 57 are wearing wrist watches, or entire 60 students are wearing wrist watches. Means we have accumulated but the facts, but we have not categorized the facts. So why it becomes the data. Now if I change the question that how many students are wearing Titan's wristwatch, now to answer this thing, first of all, you will definitely need to know that how many students are wearing the wristwatches, and out of that, okay, somebody saying that please share the PPT only, not the screen. So I'm just maximizing the content. Hopefully now the things are visible in a bigger manner or for the entire screen. The only thing is that I will not be able to get your messages. If you want to say something, just means unmute yourself and say something that thing is not visible or this is not being understood yet. Okay, so we were looking for the difference between data and information. So I have just quoted the definition for data. Accumulated but unorganized fact means we have collected the things but we have not categorized that, so it becomes the data. Now I have changed the question and I have asked you the question in a way that how many students are wearing Titan's wristwatch. To answer this question, what you definitely need to know is that you should know that how many students are wearing wristwatches. If you come to know that 60 students are wearing the wristwatches, then you need to categorize that 60 students into brands. Means be it Titan वाले अलग हो जाइए, this fast track वाला हो कोई होगा, तो they should be fall into the other category. Is if there is a certain person who is wearing some another brand, means like if he is wearing the another brand, like any brand, any XYZ brand, if he is wearing, then we can categorize the things. Now if we came to know that out of 60 students, 15 students are wearing Titan's wristwatch, then we can say that it is an information always being generated from the data. So whenever we are looking to the data, what exactly we are looking, we should know. Now until and unless we know that what exactly the data is, from where we are going to capture it, we are not going to analyze it proper, and it will not suffice the purpose of our research. So why it becomes very or utmost necessary that whenever we are dealing with the data, we should be knowing that from where we are going to collect the data and what data exactly we are going to collect, because that help us a lot into the analysis. Now in general, means whenever we consider that why we need to analyze the data, then we have at least 3-4 points with us that why we should analyze the data. First is describe and summarize the data. Means we need to describe that what data we have collected and we need to present it in a summarized way. So why we want to analyze the data. Second, maybe the thing is that identify relationship between the variables. Means if we are having a questionnaire, if we are studying a particular phenomenon, or if we are doing a particular research, then definitely data is collected for a particular variable, the variable which is being represented there. And we need to identify whether there exists a relationship between these two variables or not. Means in any case, means if you are doing research or you people have done the research, you can easily have a means you will be in easily my favor that in the research we are going to have only two things. Either we have tried to establish the relationship among the variable, or we have tried to establish that there doesn't exist a relationship between the variable, or that these two variables are the different variables. We have tried to these things only. Means those who are dealing with the variable and those who have done with the correlation and regression kind of analysis, then they will definitely come to know that we are just trying to identify that whether there exists a relationship between the variable or they differ. This is the thing that we means we will be doing for analyzing the data. So either we can describe and summarize the data, or we can identify the relationship among the variables. Next is we can compare the variable. Means like if two outlets are there, one is of Domino's and second is of Pizza Hut, and you want to check whether the complete value for money is being given in Domino's or whether it is given into Pizza Hut. Means if you want to compare these things, compare these two variables, then also you need to analyze the data. Until and unless you analyze the data, you cannot make a generalized comment. आप generalized comment नहीं कर सकते. ठीक है, तो बेस्ट जैसे रिलेशनशिप आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं, वैसे ही आप लोग डिफरेंस भी आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं. यू कैन आइडेंटिफाई द डिफरेंस बिटवीन वेरिएबल्स आल्सो. एंड नेक्स्ट इज forecast outcomes. Now means if you are thorough with the data, the variables for which the data have been collected, you have tried to identify the relationship among the variable, and if you come to know that one is the independent variable and second is the dependent variable, then and if you are able to form a model between these two variable, then you can say yes, we can forecast the outcome. Now let us take a very simple example that we are having height as well as we are having weight. Now these two variables are with us. We know that it is being generally said, a universal fact, and which is being accepted, that weight depends on height. Now if we say that weight depends on height, it means that weight becomes the dependent variable and height becomes the independent variable. Somehow for Asian subcontinent you have found a model, एक mathematical model हम लोगों ने form कर लिया 5 feet plus 1.9 into per inch. Okay, so sorry, 57 plus 1.9 into per inch. ऐसा एक सिंपल सा इक्वेशन हम लोगों ने फॉर्म कर लिया कि यार अगर मेल है और उसका वेट हम लोगों को कैलकुलेट करना है जो 18 ईयर्स एंड अबव है और 5 फीट के ऊपर हो सकता है, तो उसका वेट कैसे कैलकुलेट किया जाएगा। तो एक इक्वेशन है, यूनिवर्सल इक्वेशन में 57 प्लस 1.9 इंटू द पर इंच ऑफ द हाइट ओवर एंड अबव 5 फीट। तो अगर मैं ऐसा कुछ कर लेता हूं तो डेफिनेटली आई कुड बी एबल टू प्रेडिक्ट द वेट ऑफ अ पर्सन हु इज मोर देन 5 फीट। 5 फुट के ऊपर जो भी इसका वेट होगा मैं उसका वेट डेफिनेटली बता सकता हूँ। सो वी कैन forecast the thing or we can predict the thing only when we are able to know that the variables are into existence, they have some relationship or they share some relationship. And second thing is that if we are able to find the model between these two variable and that can be treated as the forecasting or the regression model, तो हम लोग ये भी कर सकते हैं। and for that also we are going to analyze the data, हम लोग उसके लिए analyze कर सकते हैं data. So this is why we should analyze the data, and means why we should analyze the data. So these are some points which may be considered that why we should analyze the data. Again, it goes with both the studies as well, qualitative as well as quantitative study. It's not like that it goes with the quantitative study only, it goes with the qualitative study also, but the method in qualitative studies will be different than the methods in quantitative study. So this is how we should analyze the data. Just a second. Okay, sorry. Okay, just one thing means I want to share. Since it is Wednesday, we may observe a lockdown. Sorry, not lockdown, shutdown, power shutdown. So if power shuts down, it will take 5 minutes for me to resume again because generator is into backup. So it takes 5 minutes to start the generator and get the system on. So means kindly you will have to bear for the 5 minutes, right? So this is just a thing that I wanted to tell you. So these are the reasons that why we analyze the data. Now the key components of data analysis. Now we should be able to know what is the purpose of the evaluation. We should know what are the questions for which the data is being collected. Then what you hope to learn from this question, what you have learned from this question, means how the data is being collected with respect to this question, means whether the question was mentioned or the verbatim was so good that the data which is being asked is being collected in the same way that you wanted from a particular respondent. Then the analysis technique, how you are going to analyze the data, the best technique which will be most suitable for this particular scene that you need to select, we are also going to look for it. And then how the data will be presented, means whether you are going to present it in terms of descriptive analysis, means if it is a descriptive analysis, then bar graph is there, pie chart is there, then column chart is there, line chart is there, scatter diagram is there, combo graph are there, means there are box plot is also there. So there are many different ways to present the data. So these are the key components whenever we are going to analyze the data. So these are the things that we should be able to know. Now exactly what we wanted to report, मतलब अब अगर हम लोगों के पास क्वेश्चनियर है, we have our own questionnaire, we are collecting the data and we want to report, then what exactly we want to report? The number of people who answered each question, means we wanted to know that whether all people have attempted all the questions and whether they have answered each question or not. How many people have answered A, B, C, D? Means if you are particular about a particular response, if you want to know that this is a particular response which should be considered for the research and whether how many respondents have answered this, if you want to know that, you can know that. It is the only thing that what you wanted to put it into your report. आप आपके रिपोर्ट में क्या रखना चाहते हैं और उसे कैसे प्रेजेंट करना चाहते हैं, इस पर डिपेंड करेगा कि आपका डेटा एनालिसिस आप कैसे करने वाले हो. The percentage of respondent who answer A, B, C, D. Now the first one is going with the actual value, second goes with the proportion or the percentage of respondent. So again the same thing, means if I want to go with the values only, I can go with the values only. If the values are quite bigger and someone want to deal with the summarized information, somebody will definitely ask that what is the percentage. So it is the investigator's responsibility that why or how we should present the data. Then the average number of score, means second was the actual value, next was the percentage, third is the average number. Average number means one statistical measure have been inducted here, that we are using the average. Average means measure of central tendency. Again, it will be like that we can use median, we can use mode, or we can use a simple mean. So what is the average? Average is a vague word, or it's an ambiguous word, and we need to define that what average mean to us for defending this particular question. The midpoint among the range of answer. If we are talking about the midpoint, it means that we are dealing with the deviations, quartile deviation, semi-quartile deviation, interquartile range. So we are dealing with this thing. So every question, everything which we are going to respond have a statistical significance or have some mathematical evidence to present it in the way that it should look for, right? If we are having a change in score between 2 points in time, it means that we are going with the time analysis or time series analysis, or we can find the relationship between these 2 points by identifying the correlation coefficient or the regression coefficient. How people compared means, if we are talking about the scale which is used for comparing two people, then we can go with the group comparison. It means we are dealing with the ANOVA. Quote and people's own words, it means we are dealing with the qualitative analysis. So this is how things are there. Means if we look it in this way, then definitely you will come to know that for every question there is a method. हर क्वेश्चन के लिए एक मेथड है, हर क्वेश्चन के लिए एक स्टैटिस्टिकल एविडेंस लगने वाला है, हर क्वेश्चन के लिए कुछ ना कुछ मैथमेटिक्स हम लोगों को परफॉर्म करना है, जिसे यूज करने के बाद हम लोग उसको रिप्रेजेंट करने वाले होंगे. Apart from the qualitative analysis, in the qualitative analysis we are dealing with the quotes and the people's own words, right? So next is, these are some questions. Means just I want to know that if you are reading this question, what will be the answer? Means हम लोग क्या क्या दे सकते हैं, मतलब मीन दे सकते हैं, मीडियन दे सकते हैं, एवरेज दे सकते हैं, फ्रीक्वेंसी निकाल सकते हैं, क्या क्या दे सकते हैं इस पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन के रिस्पॉन्स में. Means if you want to say, means anyone who want to answer, please unmute yourself and say. It's just a kind of discussion only. Means do you want to know how many individual check each answer? Means what should be the statistical or mathematical term for this? Do you want the proportion of people who answered in a certain way? What could be the mathematical or statistical term for this? Means if we are able to look into this, then only we can come to know that what test we are going to apply or what statistical test we will be selecting to deal with this.
H1 में कौन सा टेस्ट यूज करेंगे, मेन मोड मीडियन?
कौन सा क्वेश्चन सर? सेकंड, फर्स्ट? Anyone who want to answer? Ma'am, of course next slide will be having the answers only, but I just want to know that means हम लोग जो डिस्कस कर रहे हैं हम लोगों को समझ में आ रहा है क्या? If I am going fast, then you can say that you are going fast. I'll slow down.
No, sir, I think it's okay.
Okay, fine. So, if we want to answer this question, yes, sir. Please come again.
Continue, sir. Please continue. Sorry, it was by mistake.
Okay, fine. So, if we want to answer this question, then probably these are the answers. Do you want to know how many individuals check each answer? It means we are dealing with the frequency. Do you want the proportion of people who answered in a certain way? Means if we are dealing with the proportion, it means the statistical term would be the percentage. Do you want the average number of average score, or means if you are dealing with the average number or you want the average score, it means one of the measure of central tendency, and that is the mean. Do you want the middle value in a range of values of the score? It means we are dealing with the median. Do you want to show the range in answers or scores? It means we are dealing with the range. Means we want to deal with the range rather. Do you want to compare one group with the other group? Now, if two variables are there and we want to measure or compare the performance of these two variables with each other, then we have to go with the crosstab. Crosstab is a simple statistical technique wherein two variables have been involved. One becomes the row and one becomes the column. One becomes the independent variable, one becomes the dependent variable, and we perform just the total number of count which comes across the two different values in the crosstab. Then do you want to report changes from pre to post, means before experiment what was the values, and after performing the experiment what is the value. Then we are dealing with the change in score, means that can be dealt with t test, that can be dealt with the z test, that can be dealt with the correlation, means there are different variations of the test that we can see. Do you want to show the degree to which a response varies from the mean? अब भैया मीन एक वैल्यू हम लोगों के पास है, वहां से कितना वैरी हो सकता है. इफ यू वांट टू डिस्कस दिस थिंग देन वी हैव द स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन. सो लुक, मींस for every investigator should ask himself that what are the questions that I want to answer. Once this thing is being clear that these are the questions that I'm going to answer into my investigation, I will be getting the relative statistical एविडेंसेस फॉर इट. मतलब मुझे यार वो स्टैटिस्टिकल एविडेंसेस या स्टैटिस्टिकल चीजें समझ में आ जाएगी कि मैंने कौन सी चीज इसमें यूज करनी चाहिए या कौन सी चीज इसमें यूज करनी है. अगर मैंने इतना कर दिया तो मुझे एक पाथ या एक डायरेक्शन या एक चीज पता चल जाएगी कि दिस इज द ओनली वे दैट वी कैन डील विद दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग. एंड इफ वी आर वेरी श्योर दैट दिस इज द ओनली वे वी कैन डील विद दिस, देन वी विल बी हैविंग द राइट answers at right time at right value, means the number of mistakes will be less. So this is the thing that we are going to answer now. Basically analysis means whenever we start with a data analysis, it always starts with the variable. मतलब हम लोगों के पास variables होते ही है, and we have the variables, and that variables falls into this four categories: nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. Means all those who are doctorate, all those who are pursuing their investigation, they all are knowing all these things, that a nominal variable is like this, ordinal is like this, interval is like this, and ratio is like this. So we'll not be wasting much time into this. So measurement scales are non-metric and metric. Now if metric and non-metric scales are there, then the number of tests or the tests that we are going to use will be different. In non-metric scales will be having a non-parametric test, and if the scales are metric scales, then the test will be the parametric test. Now what parametric and non-parametric means? Parametric means the one which will be using a measure of central tendency is a parameter. Means like mean is a parameter, median is a parameter, mode is a parameter. So if we are using this parameter into the test, then that test becomes the parametric test. And if we are not using any one of this measure of central tendency, it becomes a non-metric test or non-parametric test. So usually the data that we are going to collect falls into any one of this category. Either it is nominal or ordinal, interval or ratio. Now nominal means yes, no, मेल फीमेल, जेंडर, या फिर जो भी सारे क्वेश्चंस आपके पास होंगे जिसमें एक पर्टिकुलर स्टैटिस्टिकल ट्रीटमेंट हम लोग नहीं दे सकते, जहां पे आप सिर्फ काउंट, परसेंटेज, रेशो, प्रपोर्शन इतना ही कुछ कर सकते हो, दैट बिकम्स द नॉमिनल काइंड ऑफ डेटा. मींस इफ आई आस्क यू अ क्वेश्चन लाइक दिस, दैट व्हिच कार डज यू ओन, and I gave you the option petrol car, diesel car, both and none. You have responded many things. आपने बहुत सारा कुछ response कर दिया, and I want to analyze that data. मैं उसको कैसे analyze कर सकूंगा? Means how I could analyze that particular data. Means a question was very simple, that which car does you own, and the option was that petrol car, diesel car, both and none. So 50 people says petrol, 50 people says diesel, 50 says both, and 20 people says none. What can be the kind of analysis that we are going to apply? हम लोग इसमें कौन सा एनालिसिस कर सकते हैं? शायद हम लोगों के पास सिर्फ काउंट करने के अलावा कुछ नहीं मिलेगा. Now you have taken gender, you have taken one for male and two for female. Means you have coded the data. आपने उस data को code कर दिया that one should be for male and two should be for female, and you have collected the data and you have entered it into your data sheet. You have tabulated the data and you have entered that into the data sheet. And for example, just consider that you have taken the average of it. आपने उसका average ले लिया and the average comes out to be 1.5. Now what 1.5 will be signifying? 1 stands for male, 2 stands for female. I have collected the data, I have taken an average. By mistake, I have taken that average, and I came to know that 1.5 is coming out to be the average. Now, how I could interpret that 1.5 value? Does it signify a particular value in gender?
No, sir.
Means
No, sir. No, sir.
definitely a statistical treatment cannot be given to a data. Means all those data values wherein the statistical treatments are not given can come under nominal or ordinal data. Means we cannot take the average, we cannot take the median, cannot take the mode, because it's just a count कर सकते हैं तो हम लोग बता सकते हैं कि किसका count ज़्यादा हो सकता है, ratio बता सकते हैं, proportion बता सकते हैं, percentage बता सकते हैं. So second thing that you should remember is here only, means it's very simple thing to remember that all the data values which falls into nominal and ordinal kind of data, you are going to apply the descriptive statistic for this. And all the data values which comes under interval and ratio, you can go with the inferential statistic. This is very pretty clear things. Means the diagram itself is self-explanatory, and two things which is not being mentioned into the diagram: if it is a non-metric kind of test, non-metric kind of data, then non-parametric tests are there. If it is a metric kind of data, then you are having the parametric kind of test. What exactly the parameter is? Parameter means any measure of central tendency that you want to go with, you can go with the parametric test. And non-parametric test, we doesn't use any method of the central tendency. Second thing, which again is not mentioned into this diagram, is that if the data values are of nominal and ordinal type, the kind of analysis that you are going to perform is a descriptive analysis. Now, what exactly the descriptive analysis means? It means that anything that deals with the ratio, proportion, percentage, and count, which can be represented in the form of pie chart, bar chart, column chart, scatter plot, line chart, bubble chart, means the depiction is like this only, then you are dealing with the descriptive analysis. Means data is being collected, no statistical treatment is given to the data, and we are just presenting it in the form of ratio, proportion, percentage, and count. Then it becomes the descriptive analysis. And the measures for the descriptive analysis, or the methods that can be used in the descriptive analysis, is like bar chart is there, column chart is there, any kind of chart that you want to use for, then you can go with the descriptive analysis. Now the second part, the metric, that is using two scales. First is interval and next is ratio. So this goes with the inferential analysis. Inferential analysis means you are going to draw inference from the data, means whether two groups are performing same or not, whether one group is being highly dependent on these two, three, four different variables, and with how much impact they are having to this particular thing, whether there is a cause and effect relationship, means any kind of relationship. If you want to deal with that, then you are dealing with the inferential data. So this is a important slide, means if you want to note that how we can deal with it. So we start with the measurement scale, means the data that we are going to collect, we should be very sure that which kind of data we want to collect. Means if we are collecting nominal and ordinal data, then we are dealing with the descriptive analysis, as good as that, as simple as that. If we are collecting the data from interval and ratio kind of scale, then definitely we are dealing with the parametric test, or we are dealing with the inferential analysis. So nominal and ordinal, no statistical treatment can be given. इसमें कोई statistical treatment हम लोग नहीं दे सकते या नहीं देने वाले. ठीक है. One was nominal, second is ordinal. Ordinal kind of data means wherein you are going to give some order to a particular event or a phenomenon. मतलब कोई भी एक event या phenomenon आपके पास होगा, and if you want to mention the order for that, then definitely you are dealing with the ordinal scale. Means if you are asking rate the preference 1 2 3 4 5, so order is being mentioned 1 2 3 4 5, so that is ordinal. If you want to check that whether two judges are performing very good or not, and they are giving this numbers in a particular order, then you can also judge that. आप उसको भी judge कर सकते हो by rank correlation method. मतलब there are many different ways to deal with this. So ordinal kind of data wherein the order is being specified, or you are seeking the response in terms of a order, a stipulated order which is being mentioned there into your questionnaire, or the way that you want to collect the data. If the data is being collected in an order, then it goes with the ordinal kind of data. Interval means if you want to collect the data, open end nahi rakhna hai data, you want to freeze the data upper limit as well as the lower limit, then you can collect the data in a fashion of interval. Interval में भी आप data collect कर रहे हो, and ratio is a open end kind of data value. Means if I'm asking age, and I have said that age is an open end question, means I can enter 43.5, okay, it will be fine to me. I am entering 48, okay, it is okay to me. I'm entering 49.7, again it is okay to me. So if it is an open-end question, then it is a ratio kind of variable wherein the respondent can enter the data in the way he want. And interval means we are fixing the lower limit as well as the upper limit, and since we want to know the exact band of that particular value, means now if I want to convert this age which is into ratio variable into an interval variable, then I can say age. आप उसको कम्बो बॉक्स में बता दोगे या फिर उसमें लिस्ट बॉक्स दे दोगे और उसको बता दोगे कि यार आप जो एज है ना वो 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60 इसी इंटरवल में दीजिए, so that it becomes easy for us for the calculation. So
Excuse me, sir.
yes,
Screen is not visible, sir. Please.
a screen is visible from my side, means I'm not knowing that whether look means
Is it visible to everybody?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, then it may be my mobile problem. Okay, sir. Sorry, continue.
okay, fine, just a second. If there is any message, okay, fine. So these are the four different types of scales or scales of measurement that we have discussed: nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. With respect to this only, we are able to decide that which kind of test we want to apply, parametric or non-parametric. With respect to this scale of measurement, we can be able to decide that what are the kind of analysis that we want to perform, whether we are going to perform a descriptive analysis or whether we want to perform the inferential analysis. So while collecting the data, the investigator should be very cautious that if I'm collecting the data, whether I can apply this test over this data, because this test belongs to this kind of parametric test only. And if it is a parametric test, then definitely the data type should be of interval or ratio. It should not belong to nominal and ordinal kind of data. Many times it happens that we collect the data, we look at the paper, and due to means not a proper knowledge, we try to apply some parametric test over nominal and ordinal data, and somehow the other person, those who are knowing it, they could surely reject your work just because they know that, yeah, this is the inferential analysis and this inferential analysis shall not be applied to the nominal and the ordinal data, and outrightly the things could be rejected, and we felt in our mind that
Excuse me, sir. More sir, your screen is not visible. मोरे सर, आपकी स्क्रीन नहीं दिख रही है.
what has happened and I had given to you is that, means if you are able to see the screen, that the numbers which are assigned to the runners, means the one which they carry on to their t-shirt bag. So some are having 7, 8, 3, something like that. Every player is having their own individual number. So the race started. So this is one data. Now what you want to look is that you need to look it as a part of data only, that which kind of variable you are going to get, whether it comes to the nominal data, whether it comes to ordinal data, whether it comes to interval, or whether it comes to ratio. Okay, so the first kind of data is that the t-shirt that they are wearing, they are having some number, maybe 783. Now the race is over. We got 3 athletes. The first place is being secured, second place is being secured, and third place is being secured according to the performance that they had given. Now the performance is rated on the scale of 0 to 10. So if the one who is there into 9.6, so he is into first place, second place 9.1, and 8.2 is in the rating scale, so why he is into third place. So these are the rating that is being given by the performance measurement, those people who were measuring their performance, and time to finish, that by what time the concerned athlete has finished the race. So first place, the one who is there into the first place, he has finished the race by 3.4 seconds. The one who was into second place, he has finished the race in 14.1 seconds, and the one who stood 3 third position, he has finished the race in 15.2 seconds. Now, 4 different data values are there. Can you figure out that which belongs to nominal, ordinal, ratio, and scale? Nominal, one which we cannot give a statistical treatment. मैम इस एग्जाम्पल से आपको ये बस बताना है कि यार इसमें से कौन सा वैल्यू नॉमिनल के लिए जा सकता है, कौन सा आपका ऑर्डिनल में हो सकता है, कौन सा वैल्यू इसका इंटरवल में हो सकता है, या कौन सा वैल्यू इसका रेशियो में हो सकता है. Okay, you want me to answer? Fine. So, wearing a t-shirt of different number is just a nominal kind of thing. Means we cannot apply a statistic for that. मतलब हम लोग इसका कोई sum, addition, deletion कोई उसका कुछ कर नहीं सकते. Then it goes to a nominal scale. Since they have secured the position as first, second, third, it becomes the ordinal because the order is being mentioned over here that this is first place, second place, and third place. So I ordinal kind of data that is being generated over here. Interval, since the performance is rated on the scale of 0 to 10, this is the defined interval out of which the values have been counted and mentioned over here 9.6, 9.1, and 8.2. So I the value belong to a particular scale, so it becomes the interval kind of data. And ratio scale or ratio measurement is like the total time that they have taken. इन्होंने कितना समय लिया हुआ है. 13.4 सेकेंड, 13.49 सेकेंड हो सकता था, 13.39 सेकेंड हो सकता था. तो ये ओपन एंड था, इसमें कोई फिक्स वैल्यू नहीं थी जो जनरेट हुई थी. इसने जिस बंदे ने जितनी तेजी से दौड़ के उस रेस को कंप्लीट किया, उसने सेकेंड्स, जितने भी सेकेंड्स काउंट किए गए वो सारे सेकेंड्स उसमें आ चुके हैं. सो वाई इट इज एन ओपन एंड काइंड ऑफ थिंग, एंड द data which is there is into continuous fashion. Continuous fashion means 13, तो 13 के बाद 13.1 भी आएगा, 13.2 भी आएगा, 13.3 भी आएगा, 13.4 भी आएगा. So it is into continuous fashion. If it is into continuous fashion, you can mention or you can consider the data that is being generated is of ratio type. So whenever you are dealing with your data values, you should be able to know that what kind of data I'm going to generate, whether it is a nominal kind of data, ordinal kind of data, interval, or ratio, because this is the very first step wherein you are getting the direction that which or what kind of test I'm going to apply over this data. If this is clear to you, then only the next things will be more and more clear to you. So this is about the scale. Means before I proceed, if you have any doubts, do ask, please. Okay, you were answering there. Since the screen is into full screen size, I was not able to get your answer. Okay, first nominal, second ordinal, first nominal. Okay, fine. Means pretty clear about first and second, but we are not clear about the third and fourth. Hopefully the things are clear now.
Hello.
Yes, Arsha.
Sir, can you please explain the ratio again? Like of the parametric test, the ratio thing. It is like continuous thing, but I didn't really understand it. Can you please repeat that?
The data which is being taken on a continuous scale and which is into open-end fashion, it becomes a ratio scale. Continuous scale means 14 and 15 are the discrete items, means there is nothing which lies between 14 and 15. So why this becomes a discrete scale. But if you have a scale wherein 14.1 also have a matter of significance, 14.15 is also having a matter of significance, then it becomes a continuous scale. And whenever you are taking the data into a ratio scale, the scale shall be treated as a continuous scale, and hence it becomes a ratio kind of scale.
Then, sir, in a way, can we say that ratio thing is used only when we are asking the open-ended question, which has a continuous range?
Yes, you can say that.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, anything else? Fine. Shall we move ahead?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Chalo, let's move ahead. So the scales have been explained. Means, means if we are doing the data analysis, the very first thing is that we should be able to know the scales, and that is being perfectly okay with all you people that four values are there, four data values are there, four different scales are there, and the data that you are going to collect falls in any one of this category only. इसके बाहर कोई स्केल नहीं है हम लोगों के पास, एटलीस्ट रिसर्च में नहीं है, और जो भी वैल्यूज होगी वो इसी स्केल में आएगी और इसी स्केल से हम लोगों को उसको एनालाइज भी करना है. Okay. Now, if we are having nominal, ordinal, interval and ratio kind of scale, what we can do with this? मतलब हम लोगों को क्या क्या पता है और हम लोग क्या कर सकते हैं. In nominal scale, the order of value is known. बिल्कुल नहीं, हम लोगों को कुछ नहीं पता होता है. But in ordinal, yes, we know the order of values. Even in interval also, we can know the value. Order of the value means what is the first preference, what is the second preference, what is the first, who came first, who came second, who came third. As per their own performance, we can decide the order. So in interval also, we know the order of value. In ratio also, we know the order. Can we count the frequency of distribution? In all the scales, we can count the frequency of distribution. Means in nominal, ordinal, interval as well as ratio, we can count the frequency of distribution. Now, the measure of central tendency, can we count mode? Yes, we can count it into nominal, ordinal, interval and ratio. If it is median, then okay. In nominal kind of variable, we are not going to get the median. मीडियन कैसे होता है यार? मीडियन मतलब सारी वैल्यूज है उसको आप एक सॉर्टेड ऑर्डर में रख दीजिए, जो मिडल में वैल्यू आ जाएगी यू कैन काउंट इट एज अ मीडियन. सो if it is a nominal, we are not going to get the median value. Then if it is ordinal, yes. Interval, yes. Ratio, yes, we can get the median value. If we are dealing with the mean, then for sure it has nothing to do with nominal and ordinal kind. But yes, we can do it with interval and ratio. Can we quantify the difference between each value? Means it is not possible into nominal and ordinal. And what we mean to say here, as I have just explained, that if I am saying 14 and 15 are two different values, and these two different values have their own statistical significance, then we can say yes, it is a different value. Means 34 degrees centigrade temperature and 32 degrees centigrade temperature, both are different and both has certain different impact on the process. So why we can say, then can we quantify the difference between each value? Yes, we can quantify the difference between each value. It goes with interval as well as it goes with the ratio. Now, can we add or subtract the values? In interval, we can add or subtract value. Means just like this, that if two temperature values are there, we can make the addition or subtraction. Means how much temperature have been increased? You can say 34 minus 32 degree means 2 degree temperature have been increased. Just like that. In ratio also, you can do the things. Can you multiply and divide the value? In interval, it is not possible, but in ratio scale, it is possible to multiply and divide the values. So this is a simple summary chart that what treatment we can give to the different data types, right? So for nominal, we can go only with the frequency distribution or mode value. In ordinal, we can go with the order, frequency distribution, mode and median. In interval, these are the things, and in the ratio, these are the things. Perhaps in the last session, you might have done with this thing, normal distribution and everything, I guess, hopefully. Have you done this? Means yesterday, has it been covered? Okay.
No, sir. I think there is some technical issue.
Hopefully the screen is visible now.
Yes, now it is visible.
Okay. So, we are discussing about this that data analysis process. Just as a part of example, I just want to know one thing, that if Domino's is going to market their product, means what is their own tagline? उनकी tagline क्या है यार? Domino's की tagline क्या बनती है? Means how Domino's is going to say, means एक ad भी आती है यार, उनकी बहुत सारी बड़ी अच्छी ad आती है, तो मतलब वो कैसे चेक करते हैं, क्या बोलते हैं Domino's? Means do they say like this, that within 30 minutes the pizza will be delivered at your doorstep? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, you're audible.
Okay. एक बहुत पहले एक मूवी आई थी, मूवी का नाम था इस रात की सुबह नहीं। मतलब शायद ये मूवी आप
हाँ,
सब लोगों ने
बहुत
सुनी
पुरानी है।
होगी या देखी होगी, बहुत पुरानी मूवी है। उसका एक गाना गाना बड़ा फेमस हुआ था, बड़ा अच्छा फेमस सॉन्ग था, निर्मल पांडे जी थे उस गाने में। गाने के बोल ऐसे थे कि तुम रहो चुप, हम रहे चुप, खामोशी को खामोशी से बात करने दो। तो प्लीज ऐसा ना करें हम लोग, आप भी चुप नहीं रहिए, मैं भी चुप नहीं रहूंगा। जो है हम लोग बिल्कुल बोल सकते हैं, वी कैन डिस्कस द थिंग्स एज इट्स काइंड ऑफ लर्निंग एक्सपीरियंस फॉर यू एज वेल एंड टू मी एज वेल। सो ऐसा है। हाँ, मतलब अगर आप इस पे बिलीव करते हैं तो कोई बात ही नहीं, कि खामोशियों का तो अलग रुतबा होता है, वो अल्फाज है जो बोल पड़ते हैं। तो
बहुत बढ़िया सर।
नहीं, इसके लिए नहीं है, हम लोग बस पढ़ने के लिए हैं। तो डोमिनोज का पिज्जा जो है वो ये बोलता है कि विद इन 30 मिनट्स दे वांट टू डिलीवर द पिज्जा। मींस इफ जस्ट इन केस दे आर नॉट गोइंग टू डिलीवर द पिज्जा इन 30 मिनट्स, दे विल गेट इट फ्री टू यू। मतलब वो आपको फ्री दे देंगे, बिल्कुल पक्के से फ्री मिलने वाला होगा। नाउ जस्ट इन केस दैट, कंसीडर अ वेरी स्मॉल टाउन विच इज देयर एंड दे वांट टू ओपन और दे हैव देयर ओन डोमिनोज आउटलेट। मतलब अब वर्धा में डोमिनोज आउटलेट खुल गया है, वर्धा एक बड़ी छोटी सी जगह है और वर्धा में डोमिनोज आउटलेट खुल गया है। एंड यू वांट टू चेक दैट द डोमिनोज क्लेम व्हिच दे वेर गोइंग टू मेंशन वेदर इट इज गोइंग टू परफेक्टली सूट्स इनटू वर्धा और नॉट। मतलब वर्धा में उनका क्लेम जस्टिफाई कर सकते हैं या नहीं कर सकते, अगर ये आपको चेक करना है तो हाउ यू आर गोइंग टू डू दैट, वो कैसे कर सकोगे आप?
Check the roads and the traffic of that area.
Checking the roads and traffic of that area. Okay, fine. Anything else? In a very small town, Domino's has opened their own outlet, and you just want to validate the claim of the Domino's or the claim which is being made by the Domino's that within 30 minutes they are going to deliver the pizza. My question is that how we are going to validate their claim? What is the data requirement for you?
By searching on internet, sir. Very
By
shortest route है. Yeah. Google
by
Map होगा.
searching on internet. Okay, fine. Anything else? Lane information. Okay, fine. Shiba, what you mean by lane information? Shiba is there? Okay, fine. Now, what I mean to say by this means if I'm uh, saying like this data requirement specification, that if I want to validate a claim that Domino's delivers pizza into 30 minutes at any shop worldwide, and if they happen to open their own outlet into a very small town and you want to validate the claim of Domino's, that then what is my data requirement or how I'm going to get the data? I should know that how many people have ordered the pizza. Okay, first thing. Second thing, I should know the time when they have ordered. Means when I started ordering them, I called them, and just after I cut the call, my counter shall begin. Okay, my counter shall begin, and I will be checking it for all the orders which have been placed to me in a day. Means now I want to check whether it is being placed in the busy hours, whether it is placed into happy hours, whether it is placed into a very relaxed hour. So at what time of day the orders have been placed, and according to that I need to check, I need to run a counter of I need to run a time counter that the phone was cut at 12 o'clock. So in 30 minutes means by 12:30 I'm going to deliver the pizza to them. I'm least bothered that by which route they are going to travel, by which lane they are going to travel, how they are going to reach to the particular customer, means by asking the address, knowing everything. I don't know, means we are least bothered about that. But what we are going to do, we are just mentioning the, or we are just looking for the time that is being there, एंड इट शुड नॉट बी फॉर द इंडिविजुअल. ये शायद किसी एक के लिए नहीं करना है हम लोगों को. ये जो डोमिनोज का क्लेम है, इट गोज विद द एवरेज. एवरेज मतलब ये पूरा वर्ल्ड वाइड जहां भी उनके आउटलेट होंगे, हर किसी आउटलेट में यार जहां किसी ने भी पिज्जा ऑर्डर किया होगा, उस पर्टिकुलर जगह से हम लोगों ने 30 मिनट के अंदर वो पिज्जा ड्रॉप कर देना है. सो इट गोज विद द एवरेज. So what I will be doing, I will be taking 50 people and I'll ask them to order a pizza to the Domino's, and I will ask them to note the time or to keep the time that when you have cut the call, and your counter should start with that particular time, and you should note the time when the pizza is being delivered at your place. It may happen that some may receive at 27 minutes, some may receive in 32 minutes, some may receive into 21 minutes, some may receive into 35 minutes. And for the entire 50 people, the data is being generated, and then I will apply a very simple statistic. I'll be getting the average. The average comes out to be 29 minutes. Can we say that the Domino's claim is being validated? For that small town, we have done a study like this, that we have selected 50 people, we had gave them money, and we have asked them to place an order to the Domino's, and they just need to keep the time that when they have cut the call and the time when they have received the pizza. We will be calculating the difference between those time values, and then we will be making the average of it, and at first instance the average comes out to be 29.2. Can we say that the Domino's claim is being validated at that particular time place?
No, sir. We have to define the scale
Hmm.
and the particular parameter and process the data.
We have to define the scale. Scale means the continuous scale. It means that the time is running, the scale starts from 0 and it should goes up to the time when you have received
Yeah.
the pizza.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Method of noting the time, you can note it into smartphone. The valid one is okay. Chal sakta hai.
Oh, any instrument you can use for
Any
that.
instrument. Fine. Fine.
Yeah.
Means you have calculated the data. My question
Data.
is that if the average comes out to be 29 minutes, can we say that the Domino's claim is being validated?
Yep, of course, sir. Because if Domino's has told already to you that they can deliver the product within 30 minutes.
Within 30
If
minutes, and it comes out to be 29, then yes, we can say that the Domino's claim is validated.
yes.
Thank you, Rishi Kumar. So
Thank you, sir. Thanks.
the claim is being validated. Now the question was about data requirement specification. Data requirement specification means you need to keep the time counter. Means before I start this investigation, I came to know that I will be requiring to keep the time. Then second thing is that I need to make an average. Next is that I should know that how the difference between these two times should be calculated. So this is the data requirement specification. Next is data collection. It goes with the sampling. Probably the sampling method is being discussed yesterday. कल के लेक्चर में या कल के सेशन में सैम्पलिंग आपको सिखाया गया होगा या पता होगा आपको कि वी कलेक्ट और वी हैव द population, and from the population we select the representative sample, and from that representative sample only we are going to collect the data. Now the data collection that we are going to do should be the valid one, मतलब वो valid data ही collect होना चाहिए. अगर वो valid data collect नहीं हो रहा तो शायद हम लोगों का जो interpretation based है over the data ये शायद bias हो सकेगा या गलत हो सकेगा. It means it may be wrong or it may be biased somewhere. Means
Yes.
just in case I had cut the call at 12 o'clock, but my mobile battery was discharged and I was not having any way to record the time. तो यार कितने मिनट में आया पता नहीं यार, 20-25 मिनट लग गए होंगे, आप लिख लो अपने हिसाब से. If somebody is saying like this, it means that you are not getting the exact data value and this may hamper your research investigation. ये आपका research investigation को थोड़ा शायद डेंट दे सकता है. इस वजह से जब भी मैं डेटा कलेक्ट कर रहा हूँ, इट शुड बी द वैलिड काइंड ऑफ डेटा. मतलब मेरे पास एक डेटा जो आना चाहिए वो वैलिड डेटा आना चाहिए. बिकॉज इफ यू आर हैविंग द वैलिड डेटा, व्हाट यू हैव डन, you have minimized the sampling error. Means this in turn what it is going to do, it is going to minimize your sampling error. So why, whenever you are going to collect the data, try to go for the valid data only. It means that all the values should be as per the defined baselines. मतलब जितनी भी defined values होगी वो उसी में होनी चाहिए. उसके बाहर की value अगर होगी तो you can treat it as an outlier, and outlier will give a dent to your research. आपका जो भी outlier value होगा, that is going to perfectly dent your research investigation. So why you should be very cautious while collecting the data. It should be the valid one. This is the only requirement when you are going to deal with the data collection. Now the data processing, the data which is being collected, you need to tabulate it. आपको उसको tabulate करना है. tabulate करना है मतलब मेल फीमेल है तो मैं मेल फीमेल लिख के काम नहीं कर पाऊंगा. Why? Because these are the text values. You need to convert it into the respective data code, that is 1 or 2. So when you are going to tabulate the data, you need to code the data value. So why? This is the data processing. Next is data cleaning. In the data cleaning, what we are going to do means whether the data is being valid or not. Are there any missing values? If the values, the one which you have collected is overvalue or undervalue, or some mistakes have been done into that, if we are checking for all these things, it means we are cleaning the data. It is also very much important to clean the data, to go through the data. Now currently what is happening, that we are having Google Forms, or we are having SurveyMonkey, or we are having quizzes or Question Pro, wherein the data that we want to collect comes into the exact way. There is no way to clean the data. But if somebody is going to miss the data, how we are going to deal with that particular data value, it's up to you. Means it is the responsibility of the investigator that how we are. Or if it is not dropped, then as per the preconceived notion and looking to the other data values which he has answered, the best probable data value you can select over there. So the data cleaning is must to get the valid responses only, right? So this is the next process. Next is data analysis. Now you are having the complete data which is tabulated, which is cleaned, which is valid, and now you want to apply the statistical models to the data. It may be correlation, regression, z-test, t-test, ANOVA, Fisher test. It may be any kind of data analysis that you want to go with. MCDM techniques आपको apply करनी है, या फिर आपको रिग्रेशन मॉडल अप्लाई करना है, लॉजिस्टिक रिग्रेशन अप्लाई करना है, मल्टी रिग्रेशन अप्लाई करना है, क्या अप्लाई करना है, इट गोज विद द ऑब्जेक्टिव. कल आप लोगों ने पढ़ा होगा कि दैट योर रिसर्च इज हैविंग सर्टेन ऑब्जेक्टिव, दैट ऑब्जेक्टिव्स आर यूज्ड टू फ्रेम द हाइपोथेसिस. इफ यू आर फ्रेमिंग द हाइपोथेसिस, दैट itself guide you that what kind of test that you are going to apply to justify or to validate a particular hypothesis there. So data analysis is the next phase. And then communication, that how you are going to communicate the result. आपका जो भी data आपने ले लिया है, you have performed the data analysis and you want to communicate the result. So the way of communication, whether it be in terms of diagram, whether it is in terms of the inferences that you had drawn with respect to the hypothesis validation, so how you want to communicate that, it is up to again a part of investigator that how we are going to communicate it. Just as a part of a smallest and the simplest example, एक छोटा सा क्वेश्चन है हमारे पास 5 क्वेश्चंस है. This is with related to park. Means in lockdown people are visiting the park and we just want to know at what activities they are going to do, whether they keep on coming to the park or not. Simple, very simple questionnaire is there, that how much time in minutes do you spend in the park, how you commute to the park, means whether you commute through walking, car, cycling or by bus, what activity you do in the park. This is a multi choice question, means you can do sports, picnic, reading, walking, meditation, jogging. And then please rate your satisfaction towards the park services, means whether you are very dissatisfied, no difference, satisfied and very satisfied. And experience of children's playground, so existence of children's playground, yes or no. So these are the very simple and 5 questions that we are having into the smallest question here. So we have circulated this and we what we want to know out of it, मतलब अब इससे हम लोगों को क्या पता करना है यार, तो इससे हम लोगों को ये पता करना है कि so, what is the level of visitor satisfaction towards the park in the city? So, what exactly we want to know? In general, we want to know that what is the level of visitor satisfaction towards park in the city? What activity most people do in the park? What mode most people use to go in the park? Is the existence of children playground in the park may gain higher visitors satisfaction? Is there any relationship between people activity and their activity time of the family in the park? And is there any relationship between activity time and their mode to go to the park? These are the 5 questions that we need to answer. अब being an investigator, हम लोगों को ये पहले से ही पता है that why I am going to do this research. So I should be able to answer certain question. If I want to answer certain questions, I should be able to collect the data which is very relevant to answer this question. So why we have or we develop a questionnaire. Once we develop a questionnaire, we float it across the different platform, we collect the data and then we start analyzing. Now, the first thing was the requirement, data requirement. So what data that we should be able to collect. So here we have collected how much time do you spend in the park, then how you commute to the park, activity do you do into the park, then please rate your satisfaction toward the park services, experience of child playground, means we have done this thing. Okay, now can we answer these 5 questions if we means collect the data in this fashion? ये 5 क्वेश्चंस का आंसर हम लोग दे सकते हैं क्या? Means very simple question here is there, that 5 questions are there and the questions that we are asking is what activity most people do in the park, then what mode most people use to go to park, then is the existence of children playground in the park may gain higher visitor satisfaction, is there any relationship between activity and their activity time in the family park, of the family in the park, is there any relationship between activity time and their mode to go to park? If we want to answer this question with the help of this questionnaire, are we missing out at some part, or this question will be okay and sufficient to collect the data and to answer all these questions?
As far as my knowledge is concerned, sir, the 5th question is not covering this.
5th question, is there any relationship between activity time and their mode to go to park? Activity time means if they are sparing 2 hours.
But it is not meant for children, na, sir.
Which one?
No, it is not meant for children. The 5th statement you have written here, it is not relating to the children.
No. The 5th question is like this. Is there any relationship between activity time and their mode to go to park? Means if someone is going by walking, then do he spare a little less time compared to the one who go by car?
Okay, sir. It's all right.
We have to use correlation, Harsha. Well, not correlation exactly. ओके कल के लेसन में या फिर कल के सेशन में आपको वो बताया गया है क्या कि सैंपल साइज मिनिमम कितना होना चाहिए?
सैंपल बताया गया है, लेकिन सैंपल का साइज कितना लेना चाहिए इसके बारे में कुछ नहीं बताया गया.
Okay, but we are means having an idea that sample size is more than 30 and less than 30, and what is the significance of that number 30?
Depending upon the population, we can have to take the samples.
Okay, means we can say that the sample size, if sample size is more than 30, it relatively shows the normal distribution, or it tends to the normal distribution. If it is less than 30, it doesn't show the normal distribution. So means if the sample size is 30, then definitely more than 30, then it tends towards normal distribution. So we can have some different set of tests, and if it is less than 30, then we relatively have some different set of tests. So means that is a different topic, and it require another 1 and 2 hour to describe everything, and since we are running very short of time, so we just want to means just see all these 6 things happening to this particular question here: data requirement and specification, data collection, data processing, data cleaning, data analysis, and communication. So this was a questionnaire, and we are supposed to answer these things. So what we have done, we have captured the data and we have entered it with the relative coding. Means this is the family, means we have floated the questionnaire to the people, and we have got 12 valid responses. So we have mentioned that what time they are going to spare into the park, then how they are going to reaching to park, means whether they reach by car, by bicycle, by walking, or by jogging up to them, what activity they are going to perform into the garden or into the park. Again, we have mentioned, since it was a multi-choice question, so why people have opted for different choices or different activities that they are going to do in the park. So they have mentioned like this. Then the satisfaction, we have coded the data of satisfaction. So how the data is being coded, that 0 is indifference, -1 dissatisfied, -2 very dissatisfied, 1 satisfied, and 2 very satisfied. It is not a universal notion that we should go with this only. People used to go with 1 2 3 4 5, then also it is okay, no issue at all. आप वैसे भी उसको use कर सकते हो, उसमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. I have selected this -2 -1 2 0 1 0 1 2. Then playground, whether they have the playground, yes or no. So this is how we are going to capture the data as well as we are going to code the data. हम लोगों ने data capture भी कर लिया और data को code भी कर लिया. But possibly the means the data that we have written over here, this may not be used for a proper analysis. हम लोग शायद इसको proper analysis नहीं कर पाएंगे. Why? Means if you see this, please, if you see this activity, so since it was a multi-choice question, so all the responses have been captured over here. But if we want to check that how many ones are there, we need to count it as it is. How many twos are there, we need to count here. So why? We have mentioned the data in a different fashion. So family, then time, then mode by which they are going to reach to park, and how many have said them 1 2 3. And if they have ticked for 1, if they have opted for 2, we have mentioned it as 1, and for rest of the thing we have mentioned or we have coded it as a part of 0, right? So if the family 1 is saying that they perform activity 1 2 3, then for 1 2 3 we have mentioned 1, for rest of the activity we have mentioned 0. So in this way we have coded the data, right? And after coding the data, we have validated the data, we have organized or we have cleaned the data so that the data values are quite okay and we can perform the analysis for that data. Now if we perform the analysis, we can go with an individual variable first. हम लोग पहले तो एक individual variable के साथ काम कर सकते हैं. Individual variable के साथ काम करेंगे तो हम लोगों को simple descriptive statistic apply करना है. The output that you are going to see is being done in MS Excel by using the data analysis package. Data analysis package को use करके हम लोगों ने MS Excel में इसका simple analysis किया है, descriptive statistic निकाला है. Descriptive statistic से हम लोगों को क्या मिलता है, means what we are getting the mean, standard error, median, mode, standard deviation, simple variance, kurtosis, skewness, range, minimum, maximum, sum and count. These are the parameters which we are getting if we are going to perform a descriptive statistic. Now, the question that which is the mode people are going to use maximum while they reach to the park. So if you see the mode, the value is coming out to be 2, means the majority of people uses car to reach to park. Since what mode means the one which is having the highest occurrence or is having the highest frequency, so it gives the mode. तो यार एक क्वेश्चन का आंसर यहीं पे मिल जाता है हम लोगों को. फिर इसके बाद हम लोग satisfaction means if we are going to get the satisfaction and that satisfaction is coming out to be 1, satisfaction answer was only yes and no, 1 for yes and 2 for no. If the mean is coming out to be 1, it means that all the 12 families are satisfied with the park facilities or the existence of the children playground, means they are satisfied with this. It means the second answer is also been got, मतलब यहाँ पे भी हम लोगों को second answer मिल जाता है. So even if you do the descriptive analysis, majority of questions can get answer. So this is why we should go with the descriptive analysis. This is just a simple thing that how we are going to get. This is mean as usual. Now what exactly the standard error is? Standard error is a sampling error. जो भी sample हम लोग collect कर रहे हैं, the sample contains some error and that error is being represented in terms of a sampling error, or that sampling error is being depicted in research methodology in the way of standard error. And how it is being calculated? It is being calculated as standard deviation upon under root of n, where n is the number of observation. So if the standard deviation is 46.76, so this becomes numerator and denominator will be under root of 12. Why? Because 12 observations we are having. So ye jo bhi aayega, that becomes the standard error. Now, why the standard error and the sampling error is being considered? We know that the data that we are going to collect is somehow error prone. Error prone means it contains some kind of error. For example, मतलब एक छोटा सा example लेते हैं हम लोग, that the data that you want to record permits only 2 decimal points. Now, if they permit 2 decimal point, then sorry, means 2 digits after the decimal point, and the data that you are going to collect is different. Means if I am going to collect the data, just a second. Now, I have collected the data in the fashion 37.4568, right? And your research is going to consider only 2 decimal points. Now, if only 2 means 2 digits after the decimal point, so either what you can do, you can go with the rounding off. Rounding off means 37.45 की जगह आप लोगे 46, और you can go with the symmetric chopping. आप चॉप कर सकते हो. चॉप कर दिया तो आपके पास डेटा रहेगा 37.45. Now what has happened? जैसे ही मैंने इसका राउंड ऑफ कर दिया, the error is being generated. एरर कितना जनरेट हुआ? तो एरर जनरेट हुआ 37.46 minus 37.4568. So the error which is generated here in the first case is 0.0032. So this is the error which is generated here. And if we consider this, then the error which is generated here is 0.0068. So this is the error which is generated. Now every time if I am going to use this number for further multiplication or division or for any kind of calculation, this much error will be propagated at every calculation. So why? The sample that we are going to collect will generate the error. So how to tackle with this error? We need to calculate the standard error. Smaller the standard error means you are dealing with more accuracy. आप ज़्यादा accuracy के साथ काम कर रहे हो, ये उसका meaning होगा. So this is about the standard error. A simple formula is standard deviation divided by under root of n. Then the median, the mid value, mode, the one which is having the highest frequency, standard deviation, it is calculated with respect to mean. मीन से कितना स्टैंडर्ड डिविएट हो सकता है ये हम लोगों को बताना है. सिंपल variance, the square of the standard deviation. Kurtosis की value or skewness की value. If the skewness value is 0, it means it is perfectly skewed and the value should be treated as a normally distributed ऑब्जर्वेशन. स्क्यूनेस की वैल्यू का सिंपल सा फंडा यही है कि अगर वैल्यू इज 0 तो हम लोग बोल सकते हैं कि ये नॉर्मल डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड वैल्यू है. Then the range is there, minimum minus maximum defines the range. Minimum is 15, maximum is 180. 180 minus 15 defines 165 as a range. मतलब कितनी range है इस value की वो पता कर सकते हैं. Then sum and the count. So this is how the descriptive statistic is being done. Next is that cross tabulation. Means if we want to perform a cross tabulation among two different variable. Now here the first variable is activity and the second variable is the activity time in park. मतलब कितना पार्क में समय बिता रहे हैं वो लोग और कौन सी एक्टिविटी के लिए परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं. So we are just finding the cross tab. Cross tab means two variables are there. So one is the independent variable and second becomes the dependent variable. Independent variable is they can go with the sports, they can go with picnic, they can go with reading, they can go with walking, they can go with meditation or the jogging. Now the time is dependent on these activities. Means if they are going for sports, then 30 minutes have been recorded over here. One respondent have said that they spare 30 minutes if they are doing sports. Okay. One respondent has said that they spare 60 minutes if they are doing sports only. One have recorded that they will spare 120 minutes if they are having sports itself. One respondent recorded that they will spare 180 minutes if they are doing sports. If they are going for picnic, then 30 minutes. One respondent has said 60 minutes. Three respondent has said 120 and 180 minutes. One respondent has said. So we are making a cross tabulation of two different variable to just to get that who all are the respondents who are using this kind of facility and the time. Means if we want to establish the relationship among activity and the time they spend into the park, then we can easily say here. And now if you will look at the percentage, so
Sorry
highest.
to interrupt. A doubt.
Yes, please.
Sir, in the first table, you have done the cross tabulation. So this has to be done manually, or in this also the Excel can be helpful.
Yeah, in Excel also you can do that.
So do we have any function for that?
Yes, means there is a function if sorry, count if s.
Count if S.
Yes,
Okay, sir. Okay.
s stands for several conditions. Means if we are having several conditions to compare, then that function for counting is if count if s.
Count if S. Okay, sir.
And
Thank you.
first function is simple count, which gives you the total number of numerical values present in that column. Next is count if. If you want to go with a certain conditional count, then you want to go with the count if. And if you want to go with several conditions which can be there into two different columns, then you have to go with count if s.
Okay, sir. Understood.
Okay,
Thank you.
fine. Now, if you see the second column or second table, the values are there into percentage. Okay, so these are the percentage value which have been there. So either you can go with the value or you can go with the proportion, and this is how the cross tabulation can be done. This is the way you want to communicate. If you want to communicate in terms of values, you communicate it in terms of values. If the values are much bigger and the values doesn't play a significance role, whereas the proportion of the value or the percentage of value plays a bigger role, vital role, then you can convert it into the percentage also. You can go with the percentage also. Now the next thing is chi-square test. एक सिंपल chi square test है जहाँ पे हम लोगों को ये पता करना है that there exists a relationship between the mode to go to the park and the activity time they spend into the park. Again, we have calculated a simple cross tabulation in terms of number, in terms of proportion, and we have just calculated or we have run the chi-square test and we have checked the chi-square value, that is 0.06, and if the value is coming out to be larger than 0.05, we can say that there doesn't exist a relationship between these two different variables. Means one is the mode that they are using for visiting to the park, and second was the activity time they spare into the park. In last session, probably you have done with the decision criteria of a hypothesis, that how you are going to reject the hypothesis, or how you are saying that you fail to reject the hypothesis. Have it been done in yesterday's session?
बोलो कि नहीं बोलो
एक मतलब हाइपोथेसिस अगर आप बनाते हो तो उसको रिजेक्ट करना है, या आप उसको रिजेक्ट नहीं करते, ये मतलब आपको पता कैसे चलता है? हाउ यू केम टू नो दिस थिंग, द डिसीजन क्राइटेरिया, हैज इट बीन कवर्ड और नॉट? प्लीज लेट मी नो सो दैट आई विल कवर दैट आल्सो फटाफट. Okay, not covered. Fine, 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 fine. If you are having a hypothesis, that is a simple assumption, and you want to validate that hypothesis, then there are two different ways to validate a hypothesis. We will always be saying that we can reject the hypothesis, or we can say that we fail to reject the hypothesis, right? We will never say that we will accept the hypothesis. हम लोग ये कभी नहीं कहते कि हमने hypothesis को accept किया. If you are using this accept word, somebody will definitely say that you are a kid into research methodology area, or you are very beginner, you doesn't know anything about the research methodology, because this accept word is never being used whenever you are going to do the hypothesis testing. We are going to test the null hypothesis, nothing to do with the alternate hypothesis. Alternate hypothesis का कोई रोल नहीं है. हमारा जितना भी comment होगा, the comment that we want to make is with the null hypothesis only. We'll be saying that we can reject the null hypothesis, or we can say that we fail to reject the null hypothesis, or we doesn't have the strong evidence to reject the null hypothesis, or there exists an evidence which can be able, or which can make us to reject the null hypothesis. Everything about the null hypothesis, nothing about the alternate hypothesis. First thing to remember. Second thing, we will not be using the word accept. We will be using reject or fail to reject, and that too with respect to null hypothesis. Now, the decision criteria, the virtue by which we will be able to say that we can reject the null hypothesis or we cannot reject the null hypothesis. One goes with the test statistic. Means if I'm using the t test, then I have the calculated t value, and I need to observe the t value into a statistical table. I need to compare these two values. If the two values have some kind of relationship, then we can say whether to accept or whether to reject or whether we fail to reject. Okay, this is one way by using the test statistic. Second way is by using the probability value. Now, you must have learned the significance level. So 0.05 is the significance level, and we are going to calculate the probability. So if the probability, the one which is being calculated by applying a test, if it is more than 0.05, then we say that we fail to reject the null hypothesis. And if it is less than 0.05, we can say that yes, we cannot reject, or sorry, we can reject the null hypothesis. Okay, once again, if the calculated probability value is greater than 0.05, it means that we have a fair chance to reject the null hypothesis. And if it is less than 0.05, just a second. So the decision criteria is with respect to the probability value. So calculated probability value greater than 0.05, the significance value, we cannot reject the null hypothesis, and if it is less than 0.05, we can reject the null hypothesis, right? So as simple as that. So whenever you are running the test, don't go with the test statistic. You just check the probability value along with your significance value. Again, that matters that what significance values that you have kept. You might have kept 0.01, you might have kept 0.1, or you might have kept it 0.05. The usual thing is that the one which is very common is 0.05 only. आप 0.05 के साथ काम कर रहे हो, सारी दुनिया उसी के साथ काम करती है. Until and unless you are into chemistry wherein high precision is being required, or you are there into physics or astrophysics wherein high precision is being required, you can keep the significance value there at 0.01 means ultimately the confidence interval is 99%. If you have kept it at 0.05, ultimately the confidence interval is of 95%. So something like this. So this is how the analysis is being done, and this is how the things have been communicated, right? So till here means if you have any questions please ask. मतलब यहाँ तक के मतलब हम लोग थोड़ा सा एक pause ले लेते हैं. कुछ questions है तो please पूछिए आप.
Sir, how do we decide the significance level? Because I have seen a lot of research. Sometimes use 5% significant level. Some people use 95%. So can you please throw light on that?
95% is confidence interval and 0.05 is the significance level.
So, sir, in every method we have to take 5% significant level.
Means up to you. Means if you are dealing with high precision value, Harsha, then you have to take 1% as a significance level or 0.01.
So what does this high matlab?
High precision means wherein means if you are dealing with a diamond and the carat value of a diamond carries a lot of weight. Means 5.7 carat and 5.75 carat is different. So if the precision is being increased, then yes, you have to check that how much scope you want to give for commitment of the error. Less the scope, more accuracy is achieved.
Okay, sir.
No questions? Fine. ऐसी समय में सिर्फ दो ही चीजें हो सकती है. एक तो जो बता रहा है वो बहुत अच्छा बता रहा है कुछ, या फिर दूसरा वो तुम कुछ भी बताओ, हम लोग इतने वाइस है कि हम लोग सारी चीज बड़े अच्छे से समझ लेते हैं. तो अपने साथ क्या हो रहा है ये मुझे नहीं समझ में आ रहा है. मैं कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि मैं कुछ अच्छा बता सकूं.
Also, sir, how can we decide that when we have to use t-test, when we have to use chi-square, when we have to use ANOVA? Can you please
Yes,
throw light on this?
means, yes, we can. Means before we visit that, means if this part is okay and no questions have been there, then we can move ahead. So the one which is being asked by Harsha. So now the descriptive statistic and inferential statistic. The difference. अभी difference बता के हो चुका है. The difference have already been told that if we are dealing with the descriptive statistic, we are dealing with only non-metric scale values, means nominal and ordinal scale values, wherein the data is being represented in terms of central tendency values, percentage, ratio, proportion, variance, quartiles, distribution, etc. When it goes to inferential statistic, means we want to check a validity of a population by drawing a sample from that population, and we are going to conduct some test over the sample, and then we want to interpret the results for the entire population. Just like a simple thing that if we want to check whether there is an infection in the blood, means if you happen to visit your general surgeon and you are suffering from temperature, the temperature is not coming down for 2 3 days, and somebody advise you to visit your general physician, you happen to visit at his place, then what he will do, he will ask you to get your blood test done. So when you visit to a pathology lab, you won't give your entire blood. He will take a sample of only 2 ml or 5 ml, nothing more than that. इसके ऊपर वो sample लेगा नहीं. But when he judge or when he conduct the test on the 2 ml or 5 ml blood sample, he will make a interpretation that you are having the infection, but that infection is for the overall body. It is not for only 5 ml sample, or it is not for only 2 ml sample. So when we are taking some sample and we are doing some test, the results are for the entire population. So if this kind of terminologies are there, wherein the sample is being taken, some tests are performed, and the results are interpreted, then the results are interpreted for the entire population. It is not being interpreted for the sample only. So if this approach is being applied, then we are dealing with the inferential statistic. Now, here we are drawing some inferences, we are validating certain inferences, and the test that we are going to use, there are plenty of tests that we can use. Almost the one which I know is 207 tests. There are 207 tests which we can use. Means even a simple t-test, we heard a lot about t-test. There are 16 different variations that a t-test can be applied. Means what is the type of sample, whether it is of one mean or two mean, whether the sample size is less than 30 or not, whether the population standard deviation is known or not known. Means every time the conditions are different and the test behaves differently. So a single t-test is having 16 different flavors. So every taste is having some different flavors. So why we need to decide as a part of investigator or as a means investigator, it is our responsibility, it is our job to give a valid result and a valid uh, statistical evidence for the findings that we have done over the data, right? So how we can go with the informational statistic, how we are going to select the test. Now this particular slide is very important, this one, next prior sample, and the last one. So now one sample means possibly this would have covered in yesterday's session only, that what is the sample, what type of sample we are having, and what test is suitable for the respective sample. One sample means एक ही sample है, एक से ज़्यादा sample हमारे पास नहीं है. एक आपको कॉम्प्लान का ad याद आता है क्या? There was a ad by Complan. We had given Complan to 300 people, 300 kids or 300 students, and we had given any other health drink to another 300 students. After giving this Complan and any other health drink for 3 months, we have measured the performance. The one who were drinking Complan has shown beautiful result. Now, if you consider this example, then it is dealing with two different samples. One who were taking Complan and one who were taking any other health drink, right? So this becomes two sample. The one we naturally deal or usually deal is one sample only. हम जो भी sample लेते हैं वो एक ही sample लेते हैं. And when we are doing a simple hypothesis or simple kind of research or anything, we just have to check whether the characteristics of population are inherited into sample or the sample is not taken as a chance from this particular population, since it inherits the property of population. That is the only thing that we want to validate. यही वो चीज़ है जो हम लोग validate करते हैं, बाकी कोई चीज़ हम लोग शायद validate नहीं करते. That the sample that we are dealing with is not taken by a chance. It has a statistical evidence that it is being inherited from this particular population only. So why? We just need to be confirmed at our own place that what sample we are dealing with. So if it is a one sample, अगर ये one sample है, मतलब दो तीन अलग अलग samples नहीं है, then what you are having with, आपके पास क्या क्या चीजें है, अब उस पर डिपेंड करेगा कि what exactly you will be dealing with. If you know the mean of population, means the population is very small. मतलब मेरा कॉलेज है रामदेव बाबा कॉलेज में 6000 बच्चे पढ़ते हैं और 6000 बच्चों का एवरेज एज कितना हो सकता है, तो 6000 बच्चों का एवरेज एज मैं मान लेता हूँ 20 ईयर्स है, ठीक है. सो average age is known for the entire population, then you are having this information, means you know the mean of population, right? If you are dealing with one sample and you know the mean of population, next the population is normally distributed or the sample size is large, means if it is more than 30 or it is showing a normal distribution, then if you know the population standard deviation, okay, means we started with one sample, you came to know what is the mean of population, you have checked whether the population that you are dealing with is normally distributed or the sample size is quite large, means more than 30, which tends to a normal distribution, and at the same time you know that population standard deviation is also known to you, आपको population का standard deviation भी पता है, then what you can do, you can use one sample z test for population mean, right? So z test also comes with a different variation. Z test भी आपका अलग अलग variation के साथ आता है, but if you know the standard deviation of a population is normally distributed, you know the mean of population and the sample is one sample, then you can use the z test for population mean. The formula will be different. Here the formula is different, here the formula is different, here t test formula is different, here chi is different. Now If you doesn't know the standard deviation of a population, then what you are going to use? You are going to use the t-test. Look, there is a simple difference between the use of t-test and z-test कि भैया z-test कब यूज करनी है और t-test कब यूज करना है. t-test तब यूज करोगे जब पॉपुलेशन का स्टैंडर्ड डिवीएशन नहीं पता है. z-test कब यूज करना है? जब पॉपुलेशन का स्टैंडर्ड डिवीएशन पता है. लेकिन इन दोनों केस में आपको क्या पता होना चाहिए? इन दोनों केस में आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि population is a normally distributed population and the mean of population is known. Just in case if the mean of population is not known, you can consider the mean of sample. आप sample का mean ले सकते हो, right? Just in case if you doesn't know the mean of population, which usually we doesn't know, शायद हम लोगों को पता ही नहीं होता कि population का mean क्या है. So a single difference will be making you to select whether you are going to apply z-test or whether you are going to apply t-test. If standard deviation is not known, go for t-test. If standard deviation of population is known, go for z-test. Now, you know the population proportion. Now, एक सैंपल टेक्निक है कोटा सैम्पलिंग. अब कोटा सैम्पलिंग में होता क्या है? कोटा सैम्पलिंग में ये होता है कि पॉपुलेशन में जितना प्रपोर्शन होगा उतना ही प्रपोर्शन हम लोगों ने सैंपल में ले लिया. Now, for example, in Ramdev Baba College, 6,000 students are there. 50% are male and 50% are female. I have drawn a random sample. And if that sample again contains 50% of male and 50% of female, it means that I'm knowing the population's proportion exactly. And if the sample size is large, then you can use this sample z-test, one sample z-test for population proportion. Look, this is for population mean and this is for population proportion. The formulas are different. यहाँ दोनों के formulas different है. ठीक है? So if you know about the proportion and you are least bothered about the mean as well as the standard deviation, then you can use the one sample z-test for population proportion. If you doesn't know the population proportion, if you doesn't know the mean of population, and if you know the population variance, आपको population variance पता है, then you check whether the population is normally distributed or not. If it is normally distributed and you know the variance, then you can go with the chi-square test of population variance, wherein you are just checking the group mean. आपको group mean पता होना चाहिए, या group mean पता होता है तो आप chi-square test use कर सकते हो for the goodness of fit. So this is how the things or the approach should be. Means first of all, know the variables, know the questions for what we are going to collect the data, what data you want to collect, how the data is to be collected, check the scale of the data, then check what type of sample you are having, check whether it goes with the small sample or the large sample, means whether you need to check whether it is normally distributed or not normally distributed. If meanness value is coming out to be 0, you can say it is a normally distributed sample. Then you need to check what idea you have about the population, means whether it is like this, that you know the mean and the standard deviation of the population, then which test to select. This everything has been mentioned here. And this was a very simple thing. मतलब इसमें हम लोगों ने सिर्फ t test और z test ही consider किया. एक chi square test भी आ गया. But whenever you are dealing with the chi square test, you should be knowing the population variance. आपको population variance पता होना चाहिए. ठीक है? So this is how means selection of test can be done. ये मतलब test का selection कैसे करना है, ये इस तरह से हम लोग उसको justify कर सकते हैं. Right? Next is paired sample. As if you are having two samples now. The previous case was the first sample, and now the case is of paired sample. Samples are there. Then, if you know the mean of population of pairwise differences, means for both the samples, you are knowing the population mean, and population is normally distributed or the sample size is pretty large. मतलब population अगर बहुत बड़ा है या फिर normally distributed population है हम लोगों के पास, then the population of pairwise differences standard deviation is known. तो population का standard deviation भी अगर आपको पता है तो आप use paired sample z test. Population का standard deviation नहीं पता है आपको तो आप paired sample t test use करोगे. Now the paired sample z test and paired sample t test, again the formulas will be different because two means are there. In one sample single mean was there, in paired sample two means are there, right? मतलब जो कॉम्प्लान और एनी अदर हेल्थ ड्रिंक जहाँ पे कंपैरिजन आ गया है आपको और कंपैरिजन करके बताना होगा, देन द टेस्ट आर डिफरेंट. Why? Because the samples are different. So why one sample the tests are different, two samples the tests are different. Though t test is there also, though z test is here also, but the formulas are entirely different. And if there are independent sample, इंडिपेंडेंट सैंपल मतलब यार दोनों सैंपल अलग है, दोनों का एक दूसरे के ऊपर कोई लेना देना ही नहीं है, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता कि इससे क्या होगा. ये पेयर्ड सैंपल है, तो पेयर्ड सैंपल में कैसा था कि एक एक्सपेरिमेंट परफॉर्म करने के पहले क्या नोटिंग था, वो एक्सपेरिमेंट परफॉर्म करने के बाद नोटिंग क्या हुआ. इफ आई वेर टेकिंग some pills of blood pressure, a new pill was introduced, I have taken that pill, I have started taking that pill, and I have recorded my blood pressure after 10 days. Means I remain same before experiment and after experiment. So why it becomes a paired sample. Independent sample means two different samples. Means if you want to check the male, like work life balance of male and female, so male are different and female are different, work life balance is totally different, so they becomes the independent sample. Paired sample means before experiment and after experiment. One sample or a single sample means single sample only. So if independent sample is there, then the selection of test will be different. Means again z test is there, t test is there, f test is there, z test is there. सो दिस इज हाउ द सिलेक्शन ऑफ टेस्ट कुड बी. मतलब इस तरह से हम लोग टेस्ट का सिलेक्शन कर सकते हैं. तो आप जब भी कर रहे हो, मतलब आपका अप्रोच ऐसा ही होना चाहिए कि एंड रिजल्ट मुझे क्या चाहिए, मैं उस हिसाब से कैसे खुद का रिसर्च मोल्ड कर सकूं. राइट. सो दिस इज हाउ द टेस्ट सिलेक्शन कैन बी डन. एक उसके बाद आता है वैलिडिटी एंड रिलायबिलिटी. अगेन इफ वी स्टार्ट अगेन इट विल टेक another 30 minutes. So before we go with that, and since we are running short of time, if you have any questions, do keep on asking so that we can see those questions and we can answer.
Sir, how do we determine the mean and the variance of population?
Means before you start your study, if the population is very small and a limited population is there and these parameters are associated with that, which is being noted earlier before you start your investigation, then you can deal with that.
Acha. Sir, we have to use a descriptive statistic tool for this, or
no, means if you know entire thing about the population mean and standard deviation, then it's okay. If not, then the samples mean and standard deviation can be considered.
okay, sir.
Anything else? Okay, anything that you want to know?
Sir, currently my PhD thing is on. So while referring to lots of literature review, like this topic is behavioral finance. So I see that when they are trying to connect with gender and one particular bias, so many researchers have used chi-square, many of them have used ANOVA, having said that the bias is a dependent variable and gender is an independent variable.
Yes, true.
So, but sir, I'm not able to, understand that why people are some researchers are using ANOVA and some are using chi-square, and some are using independent t-test as well.
Okay. Okay, Harsha. Now look, chi-square is a non-parametric test. T-test is a parametric test. T-test is applied only for two groups. Means gender is one thing, and with respect to gender, there is one thing that they are having. It may be any parameter that is there into your literature or for your investigation. So if only two parameters are there for comparison, then you can go with t-test. And if more than two parameters are there, then t-test is not being applied. You can go with the ANOVA. So this is the difference, that why somebody is using chi-square, somebody is using t-test, and somebody is using that ANOVA.
Okay, sir.
Any questions? How to arrive at significance level? Okay, that for that you need to refer the literature, the one, the the area in which you are going to make your study, that why, what other researchers have taken. So that gives a impact for considering the value of that significance level. Usually 0.05 is being considered, but if you are doing with a high precision research, 0.01 shall be treated as a high significance level. Sure, clear? A lot of people are there. Perhaps this were the things, I guess, were already known to you. So I know more questions are there. Means to complete the presentation again means 1.5 hours or 2 hours will be required. But since 2 hours slot is being allotted, so we are stopping here only. So I started taking your questions. If you have any questions, then you can keep on asking the questions. Means I can see.
Sir, can you suggest some book which which gives more knowledge about the types of test and which helps in understanding that which research demands which type of statistical tool? Like I got
Harsha, go with Chawla Sodhi.
okay, Chawla.
Chawla Sodhi means the authors are Chawla and Sodhi.
Okay, sir.
If you want to use Excel with respect to your means research and calculation and findings, then you
Yes.
can refer the Zikmund book. Zikmund, Zikmund, Zikmund.
Okay, so that is also a book.
That is a
Is it
book wherein the application, it is an application based book, and they have done everything, every statistical analysis with respect to Excel.
okay? I'll find out this book, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, what
Okay,
is the basic difference between accuracy and precision?
precision means
What is the
basically
basic difference, sir?
precision is like what are the total number of decimal digits that you are going, what are the total number of digits that you are going to permit after decimal point. That I guess goes with the precision. And accuracy means I mean, I'm not bit sure that what exactly I should quote for the accuracy, but for precision, I know this thing.
But in research, accuracy is very important, and that's why I'm asking the difference between accuracy and then precision.
Precision is about the value that you can consider after the decimal point, and accuracy may be related to the means it have very different phases. It may go with the
Yeah, yeah.
sampling method, it may goes with the sampling technique, it may goes with the test that you want to select. So accuracy is having multi-phase. I mean, I'm not able to quote it in the way that what exact the difference between accuracy and precision is having, because precision is having only one phase, whereas accuracy may have different phases. But I'll let you know. Means most probably tomorrow
Yeah,
if I'll answer the same thing, or you can text your email ID. I'll answer the thing for you.
yeah, yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I can see many doctors are already there, so means it would have been a boring session for them also. But still, I tried my best.
No, no, sir. It is very interesting. You are explaining the things very um, friendly and in very good manner. I am very proud of you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, if no more questions are there, means we can stop here. Or if you have any questions, I'll quote my mail ID here. You can ask me. So this is my mail ID and this is my cell number. So if you have any query, you can put it into mailbox or you can directly connect to me. Right? So at an outset, I should thank to Narendra sir, the faculty member of Adarsh College and the Dhamangao Railway Education Society for inviting me as a resource person. It was wonderful experience sharing a very little knowledge of from my side to you. Perhaps you people all were aware of it. If I would have contributed a little into your body of knowledge, it would be a great help for me. Thank you. Thank you, Narendra sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is Sachin Manore, Head the Department of Chemistry, Adarsh Mahavidyalaya, Dhamangao Railway. Honorable resource person, dear participants, it's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks. The important objectives behind this session on data analysis was to give our participants a comprehensive understanding of the data analysis. I must say, the honorable resource person has deftly brought out the intricacies of this complex, but arguably the most important aspect of the research. He has picked up from the elementary understanding like what is the data and gradually built up on this foundation to bring us to a higher level of data analysis. For this, sir, on the behalf of organizing team and Adarsh Mahavidyalaya Dhamangao Railway and all the participants, I express my sincere thanks to you. I hope that in future also we will reunite on such workshop as well. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Anytime for you. Anytime for Narendra sir. Whenever he will call me, I'll always be there. Thank you. Thank you, all the people.
Excuse me, I have an important announcement to make. This is Dr. S. O. Qureshi. This was a wonderful session as usual by Mohri sir. Thank you so much, sir. For the participants, you've been a wonderful audiences throughout this 3 days. You've been with us, and we hope that we have made significant contribution in your understanding of this research journey. And today was an extremely important and complex aspect of research. But I must say that Dr. Mohre has done full justice to this. And in continuing with this excellent resource persons that we are having, tomorrow is going to be an extremely important session that is on research writing and plagiarism checking and thesis submission by a very good resource person, Dr. Sandeep Vakure, Associate Professor, Department of Physics, Sant Garge Baba, Amravati University, Amravati. So I would request all the participants to keep up the tempo and be there at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All the best. Signing off from my side. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
चांगलं सांगितलंय.
Hello. 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 Hello.
नितीन मोरे.
हॅलो.
बोला ना सर, बोला.
हा सर, तुम्ही जी फीडबॅक लिंक दिली ना, ती ऑलरेडी सबमिटेड दाखवते आहे. हॅलो. हॅलो, रोडगे सर.
Hello.
अरे
Yes,
तुम्ही
sir. Yes, sir. More, sir.
सर, तुम्ही जी फीडबॅक लिंक दिली ना आज डे 3 ची, ती आम्ही जेव्हा भरायच्या आधीच ती दाखवत आहे की यू आर ऑलरेडी सबमिटेड द रिस्पॉन्स.
अच्छा सर, तुम्ही काही हे करू नका फिकर. आम्ही ग्रुपवरती फीडबॅक लिंक 2 मिनिटात ती पोस्ट करण्यात येईल आणि 2 मिनिटं जर थांबत असाल तर याच चॅटबॉक्समध्ये ती पोस्ट होऊन जाईल.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, sir.
तुम्ही इथे आहात तर we would really appreciate if you could stay with us for 3 minutes. It will be posted in the chat
Yeah,
box
yeah. Thank
right
you.
away.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
झाला कोण? आज छान सांगितलं. माझं?
एक काम कधी मी जाते एकदा दुकानात जाऊन आयडिया तर येते तेच मोबाईलवर ऑनलाईन फायदा चालतं का येतं
मी जातच नाही कुठं बा आता मला 5-10 दिवस आराम करू द्या चांगला मग मी एकदम निघेन बाहेर नंतर हिंमतच नाही मी बाहेर जायची मग तर काही करू नाही मग